that RFE or file an application before the deadline. This is why we offer a strategy session for 15 minutes at no cost to you. Not everyone qualifies. First, you need to speak with our cares team. We receive many requests, so we recommend you answer a few questions on our website, greencardguys.com. Our mission is to help people live and work in America legally. Go ahead and subscribe below and follow and share. Talk to you soon. All right. How are y'all doing? Today's topic is, can my sibling stay in America and get status here in America? And so many of y'all are, I know, that contacted us, which actually prompted this question. All right, friends, welcome to Green Card Guys TV. I'm your host, John Ting. I'm here to solve your immigration problem or maybe even prevent it from happening in the first place. We're out here in Houston, Texas. This is where my office is located. Happy to answer any questions you may have, and I'll try my best to do that. In the meantime, so you can drop it in the comment section. And also, if you would like to, and you're not too shy, give us a call. All right, give us a call up here on YouTube and Facebook. But if you're at work, but you do remember you need to ask it the question, then go to freevisaquiz.com, or you can also or even if you don't want to call us, that's okay. We understand. We do also have these free guides, okay? You just go to our website, download or go scroll all the way down our website, and you'll get a free guide. Contains questions to answers to common questions and an estimated step-by-step. All right, and of course, our most popular one is about suing for your legal status. Unfortunately, but it's a necessary action, and it's the worst case scenario. Because I know a lot of people have been waiting. Actually, calling it worst case scenario is not necessarily the right phrase, but it is a legal option available to you. Now, I'm not saying that if you filed your case like last week, that, okay, I want to speed up my case, so I'm ready to sue. Some people are really gung-ho about that, but it's a bit early, okay? You can't do it that quickly. All right, so for those who have a sibling in America, the only way you can adjust status traditionally, in a sense, is the general rule is you have to maintain your legal status. So more specifically, your non-immigrant status. Okay, so that could be F1, L1, J1, you name it, OP, H1B, and you might think, well, why would someone H1B or even E2 or E1, investor visa, really like starting up your own business? Any of those are fine. And some of y'all, now that you may have gained more income, now want to file for E visa. But the problem is, has there been a time that you failed to maintain your status? So we look at the whole thing, your entire immigration history. But in general, if you fail to maintain your immigration status, then unfortunately, when you think you can file your 485 application to USCIS, because they're not going to stop you, but they don't check at the very beginning when you file your case, like, oh, did this person maintain their status? Or if they didn't, do they qualify for any exceptions to that? They don't check that, okay? They only check it at the very end. So that's why it's in your incentive to at least consult a lawyer or hire one to help you avoid these horrible situations, okay? Because it's a lot of money. So you file this application. Currently, it's $1,225 just for the adjustment of status. USCIS has already proposed a couple months ago through the Department of Homeland Security that their fees are going to increase. I anticipate that could happen sometime this year. I thought it'd be now by now or increase by now, but it hasn't quite yet. So, but I do anticipate that to happen soon because the proposed federal rule, it's already closed. That closed, I believe, in March. So usually it doesn't, it takes effect soon after that. Okay. But anyway, yeah, $1,225, can be a hefty fee when you're not eligible to adjust status. And the main key difference here is like, well, hey, my brother's spouse got status here in America. Well, that's a different category. That's not family preference. Okay, so marriage to a U.S. citizen spouse, not resident, but U.S. citizen spouse, is called immediate relative, aka is that the visa is immediately available. Of course, there's processing times and whatnot, where it's pending, but other than that, it doesn't matter about other visa categories and whatnot. Your visa, your resident status will be, if approved, will be issued to you shortly thereafter. Okay. But otherwise, family preference. I think most of y'all know now that it does require visiting the Department of State's website on the visa bulletin, and it updates every month. Does it change every month? It depends on the category and the country nationality. But India and China tend to be the slowest out of all countries. Okay, so, but you definitely need it if you have a case like this. It's very, very important that you understand the visa bulletin and the failure to maintain status or the need to maintain status. So, because especially right now, if you're a student, you have F1 visa, and potentially you could have maintained your status. Maybe you could have applied for H-1B, or even before that, OPT, or continue F1 after undergrad and go to master's professional school to maintain your status, or just pivot to other things. Like, again, I mentioned like O1, but yeah, some people, maybe you just didn't get the proper advice, or you didn't consult with a lawyer before your visa. And I wouldn't, before your visa expired. Yeah, you want to get it. So even though you may not take action on it, let's say like next month, it's good to be prepared. So especially if you're, again, one college student, don't wait until like the last month, because many of y'all know USCIS takes a heck of a long time to make a decision on a case. Yes, the 2023 trend right now is that a marriage case to a U.S. citizen is getting approved in like 3 to 5 months. Now, it's not for everyone. I've mentioned this almost every day. It's not getting approved that quickly and without interview for everyone. It depends on your facts. It depends on your evidence. Okay. So hopefully that gives you an idea. But yeah, students, especially students, I feel really bad for y'all, because I don't think many attorneys, probably if anything, very few, advise to F1 students to really think about your future. So no offense to any like American citizen students, but I was like that. Like, hey, I graduated from college and I had an idea what I want to do, but I didn't really care about internships back then. So I guess you could say I was a typical American. I didn't consider, because I didn't have the pain point to say, oh, I need to get a job. I was very fortunate. My parents were helping me out. But um, yeah, F1 students, y'all really need to have an earlier action plan, strategy plan, to consider the other type of visas, because most people really, the students, F1 students, usually think about H-1B. That's great. But what if you're not selected in the registration, or maybe the timing is off, or even if you do want to stick with H-1B first, or the only option, just there's a lot of things can go wrong. You might not get selected. You might not even be able to get companies to want to sponsor. So let's say you spent so much time on getting a company to sponsor, but they end up wasting your time essentially, right? So that's why our law firm, we have a series of short video clips to explain to HR and companies what these visa types mean, what the requirements mean, and ultimately what we need from the company to start. That's usually people's most companies or HR's question, like, okay, great, that's wonderful, I understand about this visa, what do we need to do now? Not so secret here, but if you've talked to a lawyer and you've tried to get in contact with them, but it took a long time, like a week or longer, or they didn't get back to you, even including your own attorney that you've hired, imagine the same thing could happen with companies who are clients. So that's why it's very important for our team to provide top-notch customer service, to share updates, to share knowledge in advance. So we have that mindset. I train my team to understand that, yeah, it is. We are like a workhorse in that sense, and I really appreciate all my team members. Thank you so much if you all are watching. But it's not easy, but we try our best. When we recognize something in the notes and say, okay, the time and the deadline's coming up soon, then we schedule them in priority. But sometimes might not be able to help, but at least internally with our team, we are feel more comfortable if we're able to help someone get the proper advice. Okay, so I went on a long I don't know, advice there, but if you have any questions or comments, you're welcome to drop it in the comment section or share your experiences. And I do see some, but I'll get to that soon. But yeah, okay. So ultimately, but what if you're not able to get that other visa in time? Because there's many people who were not able to maintain their status. And so if you're in a family preference category, not just F4 or sibling, but if and then you need to consult with the lawyer to see if you're qualified for a waiver. And the waiver is to waive the unlawful presence in America. So yes, when you apply for the waiver if and when it is approved, then eventually when your interview is scheduled abroad, you do have to leave the United States. But of course, there's a lot more advice, questions that attorneys would have, our team would have to verify there's no other ground of inadmissibility, maybe a crime or other items like health grounds. We really look into that to make sure so that you're qualified. Okay. And the key items here are: do you have a qualifying relative, which is a spouse or a parent who's a U.S. citizen or a resident? Or and another component to know is about hardship. Now, it doesn't have to be hardship that's existing right now. That'd be good information to have, very useful. But and it also does, but it could be I don't want to call it speculation, but essentially it could be in the future. Okay. Because one of the things they look at is, well, what is a hardship to your qualifying relative if you had to be outside America with your spouse or with your qualifying relative or without your qualifying relative? So, and to some extent, that means like in the future, right? So we're kind of trying to predict, but we do need to provide proof of that to some extent. And one example is, if someone, is a nurse in America and has certification, right? But to your country of nationality, you have to get new accreditation or you have to go back to school. So every country is different. So we researched that with you um, to figure out the cost, what's all required. So USCIS officer can understand this, right? So this is basically a long strategy plan that we try our best to truncate it and give you the summary points here on the live show. Alrighty. But there's other exceptions, for example, if uh, even if there's just so many different scenarios, but if you the other exceptions are typically like if a person's been a victim of violence, abuse, physical violence, emotional abuse, then you can qualify to stay here in America for your status. So, but there's several others that I just won't be able to cover today, just because I think I'm losing my voice. But I see some questions. All right, Canelli's, you got a job with Royal Caribbean. Okay, cool. They sent you a employment letter to go to USA, get embassy to get your C1D visa, but the officer issued the C1 in error, and you had to go back to the embassy, but they don't want to change it. Oh, I'm sorry to hear. Royal Caribbean dismissed you. You kept your C1 visa, and that's how it entered the U.S. Can you adjust status with transit visa? If I marry a citizen, the visa is not conditioned. Okay. Well, I think you know this because you asked this question, but generally the default is that C1D, you cannot adjust status. Okay. But I know there's some quirkiness, I guess you can say, exception, apostle exception, especially that sounds like you're familiar with this, but we would need to take a look. Okay. Canelli's. I'm honestly surprised that they let you enter with the visa, not necessarily because Royal Caribbean dismissed you from the job, but in the sense that, hmm, yeah, that's interesting. Interesting. Um, because I'm familiar with C1D where people just get off at the port, right? And they check it there. But if you flew in with the C1D, that's kind of interesting. I wonder I wonder if customs really paid attention to that. Interesting. So, anyways, but yeah, give us a call, okay, Canellis. Glad you made it, okay? But give us a call right up here, 720-740-4247, or go to freevisaquiz.com, answer a few questions, and our cares team will point you in the right direction, okay? Or you can always just go to our website. It's easier to remember as well, greencardguys.com. All right, folks. Well, I hope this is helpful. I'm always sharing information. So, but if you aren't able to catch us live, that's okay. Watch us the future videos to get future notifications. Go ahead and subscribe down below or follow on Instagram and click the bell. Okay, so you can get all those future notifications of future shows. And we greatly appreciate any feedback, especially if you gain some value from our shows, videos, or if you've talked to one of our cares team specialists, because they really do try their best to provide the top-notch customer service. So go to www.reviewtinglaw.com. And folks, if you are on TikTok, if you're already on TikTok now, okay, give us a follow at greencardguys_John. We try our best to share even more succinct advice, tips, information over on TikTok, 30 seconds to 60 seconds. Kind of share a little bit about our day behind the scenes as well, what it's like in our office. Yeah. And if you're on Facebook, go to tinglawclub.com. We share information there as well. People share their experiences. Yeah, we're just trying to, we have a community where people want to share information. So that's very nice. But yeah, that's really because there's a lot of information out there that you don't know if it's accurate, especially if it's like some random immigration blog. You don't know if it's like moderated to some extent by an immigration law firm, because some people say some wild things out there on those blogs, and it's not accurate, folks. So you got to make sure. So that's why we end up creating our own, essentially. I know it's on Facebook. Some of y'all don't like it. I get it. But if you are on it, tinglawclub.com. Okay, join the club. All right, folks. Thank you so much. And I wish you a wonderful day. And I'll see y'all tomorrow. Okay. Take care now. Bye-bye.